of Sahel personally decorated the foreign diplomat. I'm talking about Professor Robert Ducey of Togo, Togo's foreign minister, the Minister of Affairs, Cooperation, African Integration, and Togolese abroad. That's Togolese in diaspora. It was elevated to the commander of the national order of the Stallion. Ladies and gentlemen, this award was created in 1993 in Burkina Faso. And this award can only go to the cream of the crop, the very best of the very, very best. Now, this is Burkina Faso's highest honor. And now they have placed this honor in the neck of Togo's top diplomat by Traoré himself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the highest honor you can give to anybody. This simply means that for the long stride, Togo as a nation has been a friend of Burkina Faso, has been a friend in need, has been a friend indeed. When ECOWAS condemned the AES, when they tried to isolate the AES, when African Union turned their back against the AES, guess who never turned their back? That's the Togolese people. So Captain Ibrahim Traoré is taking the diplomatic relationship with Togo to a whole nother level. Don't forget, Burkina Faso have just broken their diplomatic ties with France. But now they are taking their diplomatic affair with Togo to a whole nother level. Now, you see, Professor Robert Ducey is a phenomenal human being. He has spoken at length about the need for ECOWAS to respect Burkina Faso and entirely the alliance of Sahel states as a sovereign bloc. These are men that are ready to dare anybody when it comes to the sovereignty of the AES state. And when Bazuma Bazi was talking in Togo the other time, he was busy laughing. And when I saw, when Captain Ibrahim Traoré met him today, it was all smiles. This is the first time I'm seeing Captain Ibrahim Traoré so happy with someone who is not really Burkinabe. Like, you could see the smile all over his face. He was literally laughing, ladies and gentlemen. So, I mean, now I need you to understand why this is bigger than a ceremony, bigger than diplomacy. This is the road to a new West Africa. A West Africa where, either you like it or not, Africans are going to unite and support and consolidate other Africans. And it's starting with Togo. A lot of people were talking about Chad. But given the history of Chad, all right, given the record of the various leaders of Chad, from the father of Idrissa Deby to Itno, it has always been Tovi Todzi Tatusko Ate. It has always been betrayer here, betrayer there. But Togo, from the father of Faure Gazimbe to Gazimbe himself, it's been a phenomenal track record. I know a lot of people don't agree with Togo. Recently, we saw the way some proxies of certain nations were trying to blow up the propaganda about the ECOWAS resolution against Togo and all of that. You see, these are the diplomatic whip that Togo is getting for what some people call their overly extended, love to the AES. All right. Now, let's make this very clear. With regards to what actually happened, the ceremony took place as part of the official AES Confederation ceremony, the commemoration of the anniversary. Professor Ducey stood in Ouagadougou and Traoré pinned the commander insignia on his neck personally. This is the highest honor, ladies and gentlemen. And what did the foreign diplomat, the foreign minister of Togo, what did he say? He made it explicitly political. He said, and I quote, that in the name of President Faure Gazimbe of Togo, I express my profound gratitude to His Excellency, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, President of the Confederation of Sahel. Ladies and gentlemen, that was for the insignia of honor. Now, then he added, he said, Grand Merci Mali, Grand Merci Niger Republic. This is to tell you that Togo is not here to represent or to have a conversation with Burkina Faso alone. They are extending the diplomacy to both Niger and Mali. We are brothers at the end of the day. And this is how it should be. Now, it deliberately named Mali and Niger in this conversation. It deliberately named them because they are parts, they are the integral part of the confederation. There is no confederation without the two other states. In the same sentence, he mentioned this other states. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call geopolitical alignment. A Togolese representative, a Burkinabe authority, then, referencing Niger and Mali. That is geopolitical alignment. That is Togo telling the world either you like it or not. You might not recognize these people, but we recognize them as a sovereign, independent entity in the continent of Africa. Now, let's talk about this order of Stallion that have just been awarded to Professor Ducey. Because you cannot understand this gesture without understanding the symbolism of this honor that was given to him. Now, this order of Stallion was instituted in 1993. It is the highest distinction the Burkinabe state can bestow upon any individual. The grade of commander, which is what Ducey received, is reserved personally, all right? Is only reserved for the cream of the crop. Personality who have reached an exceptional service to the nation of Burkina Faso, to regional cooperation, to African solidarity. This is not some award you give to people because they came for the ceremony of the commemoration of the Confederation, anniversary or whatsoever. No. This is not award, a lapel pin you give to people because they participated in an event or they visited. No. This honor is reserved for the head of state of Burkina Faso himself, for national heroes. You can give this type of award to people like Watao in Burkina Faso, like Bazuma Bazi in Burkina Faso, like the best of the best. And now Captain Ibrahim Traoré gave that same award to the Togolese Foreign Minister. You see, Burkina Faso is telling the world something very clear. We have partners, and we distinguish between those who respect sovereignty and those who do not. Structurally, the Togolese state is not a part of the AES. But what the AES is saying right now is that the relationship that they have with Togo is beyond the estimation of a lot of people. All right? You love the Sahel so much. I do. I do. So now, you see, think about the timing. Less than 2 weeks before the ceremony on June 26, Burkina Faso officially severed all diplomatic tie with France. Not suspended, they severed it. They did not downgrade it. Diplomatically, you can downgrade your diplomatic relationship with certain states, right? Where they lose certain rights, where they lose certain, certain relationship provisions that are within the framework of those relationship, right? But when you sever, that means you have nothing to do with that country. That means that country, like you don't have any relationship at all. No consular service, nothing. So this is where the relationship between France and Burkina Faso have escalated to. And I don't think based on the activities of France in the Sahel right now, I don't think that is going to improve in the nearest future. I don't see it. I'm not writing it out, but I don't see it happen, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the French embassy in Ouagadougou was ordered to close immediately, and all diplomats should. Equally, France said they are going to reciprocate, and the Ouagadougou embassy in Paris was told to shut down. With a span of about 10 days later, Burkina Faso closing its door on Paris, and now Lomé is stepping in. All right? Stepping in at the right time. Ladies and gentlemen, what does that tell you about Burkina Faso? Burkina Faso only honors genuine partners. Genuine partners. Now, the question everybody should be asking is simple. Why Togo? What has Lomé done to end this? According to information, Togo has spent the last 2 years executing one of the most sophisticated diplomatic balancing acts in West Africa. When Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger withdrew from ECOWAS, a rupture that fundamentally reorganized that region of West Africa. Almost every country in the sub-region was forced to pick a side by their masters. It was not their sovereign decision. It was an order from the diplomatic command control of whoever has been selected to represent the interest of those countries in West Africa here. Are we communicating at all? So Togo was the only nation. Some aligned with ECOWAS, some quietly supported the AAS behind the scene. Remember that Captain Ibrahim Traoré said some leaders will tell him we love what you are doing, but openly they dare not. So where is the sovereignty? Where is the conversation? Where do some leaders don't belong in that conversation of sovereignty, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not missing words. Now, some people supported from the distance and behind the scene or whatsoever, they just try to say things, sometimes, indirectly. Togo took a different path entirely. They choose to, they kind of made it look like they are non-ally, not overly with ECOWAS, not overly with the AES, but they were pro-AES in what they did, in what they said. And in April of this year, Lomé unveiled a comprehensive security strategy running through to 2028, built on 3 pillars. Political dialogue with the AES, which they are already, having right now. Security cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, have you seen the recent counter-terrorism victory of Lomé? The Togolese forces are some of the most formidable in West Africa. I have seen the receipts. The proof is in the pudding. And they have a direct intelligence with Burkina Faso. So the result speaks for itself. Burkina Faso is ready to cooperate with anybody that is ready to cooperate with them. Now, they have regional economic integration. For quite a while, the AES state have been using the Lomé port. It's a win-win partnership because Lomé has equally been benefiting from that money, until Wadagni has stepped in, and now Wadagni is trying to change that momentum because Wadagni has already seen that they've lost a lot of money. And losing that money is to whose interest? So that is the story for another day. Now, Ouagadougou is publicly praising Togo's role in drafting that framework. The Malian Foreign Minister himself, Abdoulaye Diop, emphasized the importance of including AES states in any initiative concerning Togo directly. I repeat, any initiative concerning Togo, AES will be involved. Hmm? They are not saying it out loud, but it's looking like it. It's like AES. It's like Togo on this side. But if you want to do anything with Togo, you have to put into consideration the AES. That is diplomacy on a whole nother strategic level. It's like saying if the decision you want to make right now is going to affect my neighbors, I rather not relate with you. So that is what Togo is doing right now. And you see that French forces are not in Togo, but they are present in their brothers, they are, in Benin Republic, but not in Togo in any capacity. So, so Togo was one of those countries that consistently said you cannot solve the Sahel problem without the Sahel states at the table. You cannot design a regional security. And that's the truth. You can never design a regional security architecture while exiting, you are trying to push aside, you're trying to exclude the three countries that are actively fighting the war and confronting the Western hegemonic impunity themselves. The stories are being written in blood. They're not written with ink. So you are not going to come around and sit down and talk about them, make decisions on their behalf without having them at the table, which is something that the ECOWAS leader in Julius Maada Bio have always done. But Togo is saying no, that is not respectable enough. So I really, really respect this gesture from Captain Ibrahim Traoré to the Togolese. That position, ladies and gentlemen, requires courage. Not everybody can do it. People have proved that they can do it. Some people are even staying far away from the areas. See, it exposed Lomé to a lot of pressure from Paris, from Washington, because if you think that the United States is not interested in all of this geopolitical development, then you are making a big mistake. So, and you definitely know that the Nigerian administration that represents the ECOWAS cooperation as a whole will continuously put pressure on Togo too. But Togo held the line. Now, you saw the negative resolution of ECOWAS recently about the position of Faure Gazimbe in Togo. They are passing all this resolution. These decisions have been there before. They did not speak about it. Why now? So Togo is telling the world that we're going to damn the consequence, but we're staying with our brothers, as all brothers must do. It's called the Fellowship of Brotherhood. Now, there is an economic dimension, and this may be the important piece of the whole puzzle that nobody is talking about. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger share one critical vulnerability. They are landlocked, which we all know. They depend solely on the coastal states for imports, for exports, strategic materials. If they want to bring in their military equipment that they're going to use to fight, they need all of these states to bring it in, right? Historically, those routes ran through coastal ECOWAS states that could, at any moment, close the borders, impose sanctions, or slow down the movement for political leverage, for the interest of France, like the Beninois authorities did under Patrice Talon. So many Nigerian shipments were kept at the, Cotonou ports. They said for certain reason because of the diplomatic escalation between Benin and Niger Republic. But you definitely know that decision is not Benin. It's not Beninois decision. That decision is Paris' decision. For how long will Africa continue this way? Ladies and gentlemen, that is a question that the answer I cannot produce right now. Now, Lomé's deep water ports changes that equation forever. So Benin will not have that leverage. France will not have that leverage. Togo is positioning its port, which, according to information, the most effective port right now in West Africa when it comes to time of processing, delivery, and everything. The capacity. According to our research, the Togolese port is the best right now. Far better than the Nigerian port. Have you heard that there are some goods that Nigeria is redirecting to Togo? So let's say you are bringing something into Nigeria. A lot of Nigerian consumers now, they redirect it to Togo because of the faster clearance. And through Togo, they bring it through Benin, they bring it to Nigeria. That's what they do now. Because it comes in faster, they offload fast. Everything is so fast, highly operational. Now, a reliable maritime outlet that does not depend on political alignment with anybody, not with Cote d'Ivoire, not with Accra, not with Abuja or Lagos State. Now, and Lume is investing heavily. They are not just banking on the existing, upgrades. No, they continue to upgrade the capacity of the port, streamlining customs, building storage infrastructure, transit infrastructure, specifically designed to serve the Sahel corridor. They are improving. Togo saw the diplomatic fracture between Benin and the AES, and they just took advantage of the whole situation. They improved their capacity for the purpose of the AES states, because these landlocked countries are the ones that are going to be heavily reliant on them. So this is not charity. This is not friendship. This is strange interdependence. Togo needs the trade volume for their own economy. The AES need the ports. So beside the win-win partnership, trust exists between the two. For Captain Ibrahim Traoré to have given this award to a Togolese foreign minister, based on what this award stands for in Burkina Faso, it means there is a mutual trust. And everybody knows that when you are dealing with people, the most valuable coin when it comes to friendship and every other thing is trust. And the second thing is respect. And between Burkina Faso and Togo, these two things exist. So the relationship is undeniable. And that trust family is what yesterday's ceremony, that is what is formalized. So what comes next is what gets interesting. Because will ECOWAS be able to do anything with the resolution that they have just passed about the Togolese authorities? Or is just another resolution that is going after the order of the European Union? A lot of people are asking, could Togo eventually join the AES Confederation? That is the most important part of this particular video. And that was what made me create this video. The question was asked from Robert Ducey himself, that would Togo eventually join the AES Confederation? Robert Ducey himself has addressed this directly. Not just yesterday, he addressed it in March 2025. He stated publicly that Togo joining the AES is, and I quote, not impossible. Listen, he said that Togo joining the AES is not impossible. He has repeated various times this position on multiple occasions since. And recently, as far as last month, Togolese media reported that the government is seriously studying the modalities of their integration as far as the AES is concerned. If they are teasing ECOWAS, I don't know who they are trying to tease, whose fancy they are trying to tickle, but they are doing the right thing. They are making the right statement. They are studying the modalities that's going to make that possible. We do know that it's not easy. If Togo joins the AES, the whole landlocked conversation is over. All right? So I love that statement, ladies and gentlemen. Now, nothing is confirmed. President Nazimbe has not made a formal application to join the AES because you have to make a formal application. But when a foreign minister, the same man who just Burkina Faso just decorated with this award, the highest honor during the AES anniversary, when everybody was looking, says membership is on the table and it is not impossible. And they are studying the modalities to formally apply for membership. Ladies and gentlemen, read between the lines. Togo is trying to tell anybody that look, we are part of AES, but also we are very, very close. Now, I will say this thing at this point, and I stand to be corrected. Togo is playing it safe. Let's be honest. All right. Togo is putting herself in a position where nobody will be able to pressure them too much. Nobody will be able to, mess with them. The reason is because the opposition will be scared that if you pressure them too much, you might be pushing them towards AES. And pushing them towards the AES. Sorry, hold on, family. So, mm, so pushing them towards the AES will be like you are pushing them towards BRICS. And pushing them towards BRICS will be that, France will not be able to come back. It will simply mean that Russia will soon be a part of the Togolese security architecture. It will mean that Togo will no longer depend on France for its security. Even if some countries are not depending on France currently, Paris still believes that something might happen, that something might lead to something, and miracles might happen, and they will just suddenly find themselves in these places. Now, France did not believe that Burkina Faso will escalate things to the point of breaking diplomatic relationship with them. All right. Yeah, Russia has already agreed to the deep water port. Yeah, Russia has already agreed that deal. And thank you so much for joining the membership by design. I see the membership tag. I really, really appreciate it. Now, you see, Togo is leveraging on this relationship, in my opinion, and they are using it as a sort of shield that our options are not limited. If you pressure us too much, we are going to drift towards the AES. Now, if you look at the pattern, Chad's president, Mama Debi, has also been in direct communication with the AES leadership. Beninoa President Romod Wadagni has been in, relationship with the AES, and he has been in communication with them up until recent time. Nigeria Defense Minister Christopher Musa is going to visit the AES recently. Is going to be visiting very recently. So, you know, if you look at everything, and according to what Nigeria has said, they said they are planning the tour. They said they want to plan it very, very well so that Christopher Musa can move from Niger Republic to Mali to Burkina Faso. According to the information that we have, the Sierra Leonean president, Julius Maada Bio, is actively trying to mediate. I don't know what mediation means actually. Mauritania has been multiplying their diplomatic relationship with the Alliance of Sahel states. The AES is not isolated, ladies and gentlemen. The AES is being courted. And Togo, through Dossie's, visits, through Dossie's patience, deliberate bridge building, has placed itself at the front of that line. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we are witnessing is the slow, careful construction of, to me, a new West African order. I don't know what that language will mean to some people that are pro ECOWAS. One that waits not for the authority of Paris, one that does not answer to Washington, one that does not depend on permission from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria. With all due respect, the architecture is being built brick by brick, handshake by handshake, and medal by medal. If the medal that was presented to the Togolese Foreign Minister yesterday will represent the first medal, you should be aware that many medals are coming from Niger, from Mali. And the decoration of Professor Robert Ducey, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those bricks that is going to continue to build the relationship. It tells every coastal state in West Africa that there's a place for you in the new architecture. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, they have not classified any state as an enemy state. But it will not be dependent on the old terms. No, 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 no. It will depend on the basis of mutual respect, sovereign equality, and in my opinion, genuine partnership. It has to be genuine, not what we have from, permit me to say, Algeria. And the decoration of Professor Ducey represents a lot right now, families. So, family, this is the story. Captain Ibrahim Traoré on the second anniversary of the AES Confederation. This is a story that is telling the world that if you relate with us in trust and in mutual respect, we are going to honor you. So, Robert Ducey, given the commander of the Order of the Stallion in Burkina Faso, is a recognition of Lomé's diplomatic courage, a signal that every coastal state is watching currently as we speak, and a quiet confirmation that the new West Africa is no longer a dream. It is being built in real time by the countries that refuse to wait for permission of certain imperialist power. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Do you think that Togo is genuinely positioning itself as the AES gateway to the sea, to the Atlantic, whichever way we want to put it? Or this is a tactical play by the president of Togo, Farouk Gazimbe, to edge against ECOWAS decline? If ECOWAS falls, maybe Gazimbe is already positioning himself. He's a master strategist. Gazimbe is the only man you will see in Moscow, and you will see him the very same week you will see him in Paris. I don't know if you can call that non-allied type of diplomacy, but to me, I have to give a lot of credit to the Togolese people. They are very, very smart, and they deserve all the respect they're getting now. So let me see where the Android community stand on this, because in this type of conversation, I don't represent everybody's interest. So I have to see where majority stand on this particular conversation. So if you're watching this live, you can kindly do well to help us hit the like button or share the stream. And if you feel generous, you can help us leave a comment in the comment section. Because if you don't, you definitely know Android will be very, very, very not happy. So another good news is coming out of Anefis. The Malian armed forces have seriously pummeled the FLA. And from the videos we are seeing, the Russian African Corps have not stopped. One of my biggest fear about Anefis, at a point I asked from my friends, I said, what if the ammunition finish? What if everything dries up? And to now further continue that pressure, you know what the FLA were doing? They went to X platform and they were bringing footage from Sudan. I know a lot of people have seen this video where some machines that looks like a multiple rocket propelled grenade was used to launch. They said they were launching missiles into the Anefis military base. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning it was verified, and according to information came out that that image was an image from El Fasher in 2023. All right. The fight has been going on for quite a while. So, and I don't doubt this because it is the same FLA that went to bring out videos. They said they captured some weapon in Kidal, and it happened that those videos were from somewhere in Ukraine. So the people that are in charge of the propaganda of the FLA, they are very, very smart. I can't take away that from them. But the videos we are beginning to see is seriously worrying. I saw a kid today. I'll call him a kid because he is nothing better than a kid. In Anefis, the outskirts of Anefis, he's so small. If you listen to his voice, you can feel that babyish, you can feel that childish tone. That boy is not up to 13 on the front line with this so-called FLA, Iyadagali, and all of that. So, to those that love and follow Iyadagali, is it part of the doctrine to incorporate minors in this type of geopolitical escalation? Iyadagali is an Islamic cleric. Is he representing Islam the right way? Now, an information came out from the general staff of the Malian Armed Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, they called that Operation Ratisage. So what happened last night was that, during the day, when capabilities are approaching, you can see them. Sometimes you can see them. That's why you see that most times when the drones are about to launch some of the strikes, you will see them running even before the strike gets down. So the Malian Armed Forces, and according to further report, they said vectors from neighboring AES states, they moved in on the outskirts of Anefes. It was they launched 35 airstrikes. Ladies and gentlemen, 35 airstrikes is not small. It's not something you can joke with. They launched 35 different airstrikes. And by morning today, we are now getting reports that more than 30, 300 plus motorcycles that they have been recovered. So over 200 FLA terrorists have been neutralized. And against the narrative they are trying to print, I think the FLA were trying to do something because I said it earlier that there is no reason to bite down. You've not held any strategic position. But they arrogantly stayed. I asked myself a question. What is the aim of you staying? You all have seen the FPV footage. You've seen the fiber optic drone footage. You can see how they stayed there in the open, waiting to get. So I was asking myself a question. Why? So it was so terrible. It was so terrible. And, you see the Western complicity. You see, in my opinion, these people post this footage on X, on Instagram, on Telegram, and like Western media sources. Are you telling me they don't know that these terrorists are? You want to tell me that they don't know where they are? And it is how quick they make videos. These people don't make video in the morning and post in the afternoon. They release it immediately. But the International Human Rights Watch and all those organizations, they can't see what they are doing. They can't see the children, even though the image is on the social media. But Malian forces and the Russian African Corps, they are doing this, they are doing that. It is the hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen. So according to the information that we received, they said over 200. And according to further reports, they said the clearing operation continues. Now, the strategic pictures. This Kidal situation of a thing, in my own opinion, I think the battle for Hanefis will determine what will happen in Kidal. Because the enemies have thrown their game plan into the hands of the Russian African Corps. Their belief before was that they were going to encircle Hanefis and they were going to be bombarding our Nephis from left to right. But they have failed. They were completely crushed in Gao. Every other position, they were completely destroyed. Now they are trying to do everything. So they made Anefis their whole, mission now. It wasn't Anefis before, don't forget. When the news came out, they said it was 5 different places in Mali. But now they are talking about Anefis. And in this same Anefis, the Russian African Corps and the Malian armed forces are fighting back. You know, the way the West is trying to frame this information is very, very funny. In my own opinion, I call it pathetic because they were posting video. You see, they cannot deny this because the FLA posted that video when they got in and all of that, and immediately the blowback, like they started. It was a raticide. That was the language they used, and according to the information we are getting, a lot of FLA now are beginning to surrender. We have posted the video on our Telegram in the Anefi city. What we have inside the Anefis city is an encirclement of some of the FLA that entered Anefis, and now they are staying in the outskirts. They are staying under trees, under shrub, like they are trying to launch mortars. But these components that are trying to launch these mortars and all of that, they have been destroyed. And yesterday, airstrike was a significant, change in dynamics of the escalation going on right there. Well, in my opinion, I wish the situation change anytime soon. I wish the whole thing ends because when you look at the age of fighters the FLA are putting to the meat grinder right now, if you look at the age they are pushing to the meat grinder, I think kids at that level, if you are a child at that age, I believe you can still be saved. In my opinion, these are, I think I'm seeing kids within the age of 12 and 13. And I mean, hiding under trees. You can see that tenderness in their voice. So, in my opinion, I think I want this like if they want, I don't want them to be more defeated. See, they are already defeated. I don't want the defeat to go beyond this. If it goes beyond this, then it's not good. Because I can't see the matured ones among them anymore. It shows you that they are losing the war. Some people are speculating that maybe this is the reason why Macron traveled to Syria. I don't know if Macron traveling to Syria has anything to do with what is going on in Mali. But the current age demography of the fighters right now tells all the story. Now, let me put it together for you so that you understand. It is not just about the age demography, okay? It is not just about the age demography telling the story. It is equally the fact that the FLA joined ranks with the JNIM. So that means that the FLA did not have the personnel capacity to confront the Malians right now. They don't have the personnel capacity to confront the Malians. That was why they tried to consolidate on, having a relationship with JNI. They got pummeled. They got devastated. Then now we are seeing little kids. It shows you that this old narrative of a place in Mali called certain name is naturally fizzling away on the line of contact. Well, we'll see what happens in the coming days, but I don't want to even post the update right now. I don't want to post the update because it's gut wrenching. I don't want to have any reason to post such footage. I have a lot of them. They have been sent to me, but I don't want to make a video showing you the faces of some of these kids. They are too young. And I don't know what the FLA or Algeria, I don't know what Algeria wants to achieve with this. And you can see what happened in Tandalahak. The Malian armed forces launched a serious airstrike. What is burning in that place, I don't know. But the airstrike is terrible. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we'll draw the curtain for today. No, for now. Later in the evening, Burkina Faso have just created a new law. All right. And that law, we'll be talking about it later today, probably around 12 a.m. African time. We'll be talking about that new law that Burkina Faso have just created. How you feel about it, what you think about it, you'll be dropping it when we have that conversation. And I want a lot of people to participate in the evening session. And please don't forget to subscribe to our second channel, AWM72. The essence is simple. If anything happens to this channel, which I think it might, you know, even though they've removed their restriction, I'm seeing some things that are not normal. And the manager, the YouTube manager, called me recently. He said he's returning to come and partner with me and things like that. Honestly, I did not even choose a date for any appointment. I really don't want to talk to him. Like, whatever happens, whatever. At this point, is just whatever. So, yeah, it's almost wedding time. Wedding is on Thursday. I'm not even thinking about the wedding, actually. I'm not thinking about the wedding. Um, right now, I'm really thinking I want the situation in Mali to get better. I want the people to live a normal life. Um, I just want everybody to be okay. That is not like, yeah, wedding is approaching, the women are running up and down. But right now, I care more about the situation around. Yeah, wedding will come, we'll attend the ceremony, and we'll go home. Yeah, nobody. A lot of people are not gonna come. Bro, you serious? Yeah, I'm not really. I'm not really. Honestly, you're really saving up. Honestly, all of us are not the same. Actually, all my life, I've never celebrated what a lot of people celebrate. I don't celebrate things. I celebrate innovations. I celebrate maybe a new business for me. I celebrate maybe I've already built something that I've created jobs for a lot of people. I celebrate on those type of days. Um, when I write exam and I pass, I don't celebrate because I am supposed to pass because I know I've done enough to pass. So there are some things that amaze a lot of people, and people, I'm not wired to respond that way. You understand? I don't go to people's wedding ceremony, so I don't like. Yeah, I don't go to wedding ceremony at all. People have. I don't know if a lot of people will see it as a limitation. Yeah, I don't know if people will see it as a limitation, but I don't say I'm not the type that celebrates. I don't go to club. You don't see me anywhere. I've been indoors almost all through the day. I only ordered for food that will eat, and because you can hear the party sound everywhere. People are celebrating outside, but that is not the type of life I signed up to live. I'm the type of person that this is just who I am. This is who I am. This is how I'm made. Like, yeah, so wedding will come. I just want the wedding to be over very, very quickly. That is me as a person. Like, go there, celebrate, do this swearing of oaths, you know, and that's it. Thank you so much, brother. And yeah. If my friend is celebrating wedding, the best thing I can do for him is to ask him, dear friend, you are moving to the next phase of your life. Is there anything I can do to make your life better? If a friend of mine is celebrating a birthday, the question I'm going to ask him is there anything I can do? You are adding another year to your year. Is there anything I can add to your life? Do you understand? I'm not the type that, okay, let's sit down, let's drink, no, I don't. It's not even a part of me at all. All right. It's just how I am formed. And I love, everybody that celebrates. I envy you, to those that celebrate. I think it's about appetite. Some people have the appetite to celebrate. Some people love celebrating. I envy them. Some people, is from like one enjoyment to another. Yeah, I envy people that do that. But and I don't see it as, I don't see anything wrong in it. Some people can take alcohol till all the cows come home. Like, I used to look at them like, wow. Most especially those that don't get intoxicated, but I don't. You know, I'm always the only thing that interests me in this life is good news about my family, about my friends, about my people. It's just good news. What have you achieved? My friend here, he just achieved, he just built some companies. you know, I'll be relocating to the place very soon. He just built some companies, and he told me day before yesterday to come and check those companies. I went there and I saw it. And I'm very, very happy for him. Now, we've been talking back and forth since then. We've been exchanging ideas on how a lot of lives are going to be changed with that. Wedding is just a ceremony, and people goes. You will be left alone to confront the realities after the ceremony. People come, people go, and I think is more about the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. How that person can improve, how that person can be better, how I can be a better father, husband, brother, everything I have to be. It's a new life, it's a new curve for me. I have a lot to learn to in that field, but I hope I can be better. So that is the only thing I'm going to say. Thank you so much, family. I'll see you all in the evening. This is like, I enjoy this time we are spending together, but I have to let you go. It's so unfortunate that I have to let you go, but I have to let you go. You all are my family, and I like having conversation with you all. Yeah. Bye bye. Thank you so much, Kindi. Thank you. Thank you so much, By Design. Thank you so much, everyone. What? Pre-wedding gift, cause By Design, thank you for the $50 donation. It's even red. Like, the color is red. That is something very, very unusual on this channel. So I really, really, and I really don't, I hardly see that level of donation in most of the channels I've been following before now. But I really, really want to say thank you. You make I really have to say this, that by design you make doing YouTube, you make it really, really worthwhile. And you make it make sense to an extent if you know what that means. And I know that a lot of people appreciate what you do. uh, I really, really want to say thank you. You've been saving up.